Hi, it's Amber here from Curlew Country, and today I'm going to talk to you a bit about our head starting. Ideally we'd work towards natural nest recovery, but this is very difficult as it requires larger policy changes to deliver real support for farmers that are helping waders as well as other wildlife on their farms. Until this happens, head starting is a good way to boost the population in our area so that they don't completely disappear whilst those changes are happening. We have a licence here at Curlew Country for Shropshire to head start 50 eggs, so we collect those eggs from wild nests, and what we do is we take an entire clutch of eggs, let the birds fail, and then hopefully they'll go on to lay a second clutch, which will then be left, if we can find it, with nest protection such as an electric fence, to try and go on and succeed. Once the eggs have been collected out in the wild by our ornithologist Tony, they're brought to us here in the head starting chalet, where they'll come into our incubation room for processing. Processing involves, when they first come in, measuring the length and the width and taking the weight of the egg, as well as candling them to check that no cracks or damage appear on the egg. If they are cracked or damaged, often which can occur just in the nest, it's not a complete disaster, we can repair them using some clear nail polish or some glue just to make sure they've got a chance at survival. They are then added to one of our 3 incubators, usually to this one, which is the second incubator, but this is the mid-humidity range incubator. So we start them off here. After a couple of days of being in the incubator, we'll take another weight from them and candle them again. We then plot their weights on a chart which allows us to determine whether they need to move into a different incubator with more or less humidity. If the egg is losing too much weight and we need to slow it down, we'll put it in a higher humidity. So we have one here set at 70% humidity. If it's losing too little weight and we need to encourage it to lose more, we'll put it into a drier incubator. Now ideally we're aiming for a 15% loss in weight for it to be the ideal hatching weight for successful hatching. Other things we look for when candling include any oddities, good signs of development, movement, different stages, things like that, so we can know that they're all healthily developing or weed out those eggs that might have gone bad or not be developing as they should. If there is an egg that is not developing well, rather than remove it straight away, we might separate it. So we have another incubator set up, which we'll use as an isolation incubator for any eggs we're not quite sure about, until we're 100% sure they're not going to do well, and then we can remove them completely. Obviously this is just the first stage of our head starting process. Once we get onto the hatching of the eggs, which can take around 29 days from when they're added to the incubator, we then have to move the chicks up to early rearing, and that's a whole different process of looking after the chicks.